Good morning, YouTube, BookTube. This is Johnny. I was just on the internet looking at BookTube, responding to comments. Try to keep up with comments. I still see comments from 3 years ago I've been trying to respond to. Some of those comments were wishing me a happy birthday 3 years ago. Now it's 3 years. And so, yeah, now I'm 71 years old, and then next year I'll be 72. I mean, I still can't believe how old I am. I mean, our children are there in their late, or our daughters in their late 30s, and our sons are in their 40s. And anyway, I thought I'd make a video. My wife went to church this morning around 8:30. So it's a Sunday. It's November the 26th. It's a Sunday, it's 9/11 inside the hermit hut. It's outside, it's cold. It's supposed to snow. Last year this time of year it was snow on the ground, and we haven't had really any significant snow thus far in November. We did have one day it snowed, but it's supposed to snow. The months I dread the most every year here in West Michigan is November, December, January, and February. When we get through those months, I feel better. But it's still cold here because we live along the lake, Lake Michigan, and we get lake effect snow because we're close to the lake, and so the weather can get really bad during the winter. But at least this year, as we've gotten older, we get snow plow service, so we don't have to plow the snow or go out there and shovel, except for the walkway leading up into the mailbox on our front porch. So yeah, what I thought I'd do, this is Sunday, just kind of an update, what I've been reading. I'm still sick with this some kind of lung infection. It's going on 3 weeks. I got some medicine, and slowly I'm beginning to feel better. I think it's some kind of allergy or something. As you get older, things start breaking down. So as far as my diary this morning, I'm on page 1041. And I'm reading, well, lately, I mean, it's been 3 or 4 days since I made a video, and I really just been reading the same kind of things that I've been showing in my recent videos. I'm still reading New Testament Theology by Eckhard, Schnabel, J. Schnabel. So yeah, I've been reading this because, as I've said, my wife and I, we have been reading through for devotions for a while the Old Testament Psalms, and now we're going through the Gospel. Well, we're going to read through the New Testament. So when you open up the New Testament, it starts with the Gospel of Matthew, and then it ends in Revelations. It's kind of interesting when you look at the Bible and see, there is the New Testament. That's the New Testament. And then all that. Most of the Bible is the Old Testament. But really, the Bible is one unity. It's the old and the new, and the new and the old. They all kind of interpret one another. You can't understand the New Testament without understanding the Old Testament. And you can't really understand the Old Testament unless you know the New Testament, because they all, the unity of divine scripture. So because when for example, when you read the Gospel of Matthew, he's always quoting the Old Testament because Jesus fulfilled all these Old Testament prophecies. And so it's kind of interesting. So I'm reading through the New Testament theology as we're reading through the New Testament. So it's kind of like I'm getting a deep dive, immersion into the New Testament by reading, again, New Testament theology. I've been reading New Testament theology. I went to Bible college back in 1978, And I've been reading New Testament theology until today. I mean, I've showed you, I have a great Christian library. And as you know, I've constructed my library to be a teaching and preaching Bible library because I thought that I would go into the gospel ministry and spend all my days in the pulpit and Sunday school classes and Wednesday night Bible studies teaching and preaching the Bible. But it never happened. So, but I still love the Bible. I still study the Bible, and I still read those books because I am a bookworm. I love books, and I love Christian literature, and that's why I started this channel and BookTube to share Christian books. So I've been reading this, and also I showed you this book. I'm still reading it, The Very Devout Meditations, a tribute to Bernard Clairvaux by David N. Bell. It's translation, introduction, and notes. That's the Latin title. You see it in red there, in italics. So I read this a little bit, and then I showed you I bought from Christian Reformation Heritage, Morning and Evening Exercises by William J. So I read these like in the mornings. This is the morning exercises, and so it's every day of the year, morning exercises every day of the year. And so in the mornings I read that day meditation, which I have not read today. What's today? The 26th, yeah. So I'll read that, and then I read in the evenings, the evening exercises of every day of the year by William J. So I read those, at least I try to every day and every night. My wife and I, we have another devotional book that we read at night before we pray. I also been reading, I got this when I was in Bible college back in 1977. The Poor Man's Morning and Evening Portions by Robert Hocker. So I read that. So those are the kind of things I read in the mornings when I'm not writing in my diary, reading the Gospel of Matthew. Yeah, and so I've been reading that. And when it comes to non-Christian reading, I finished reading Alone by Carlota Gurt. And this is what was translated by Adrian Nathan West. Yeah, I finished this. You see it's big print. So I finished reading this. It says here, Mia is 42 years old. This is in the flap. Mia is 42 years old, stuck in a loveless marriage, and has just been made redundant. Removing herself from the harsh realities of the present, Mia decides to take refuge in the cottage where she grew up, hidden in the remote forests of Catalan. I think that's in northern Spain. In the absolute solitude of her surroundings, it's outside of Barcelona, up in, I suppose, you might say the north. In the absolute solitude of her surroundings, while trying to finish the novel she has been obsessing over for 2 years, Mia begins to face up to her unsolicited present and uncertain future. What does it mean to be truly alone? It is an objective reality or a state of mind. Is it a blessing or a prison sentence? The only certainty is that Mia will not escape unscathed. Alone is an intoxicating debut novel that will leave readers shaken. I don't know if I was shaken. I was kind of... It was an interesting read. I suppose I enjoyed reading it. And then I've been reading still... I've been reading a lot of this. I've read 347 pages of Lies and Saucery by Elsa Morante, which is translated by Jenny McPhee. She was an Italian writer. She was born in 1912 and died in 1994. was born in Rome. And yeah, I've been reading this. I've really enjoyed reading this, and I plan to keep reading it, even though it's 772 pages. But I like, as you know, I like massive books. I like, and I really have enjoyed reading this, and I plan to keep reading it throughout the month of December. So I've been reading that. Well, as you know, it's been 4 days of, you have college football and professional football, and as you know, I put the TV on mute, and I watch football and I read in the afternoons and the evenings. This. And I'm still reading the letters of Gustave Flaubert. I've read 381 pages. I'm really enjoying these letters of Gustave Flaubert, edited and translated by Francis Stillemeyer. Yeah, these are really great letters. I've really enjoyed reading this. And I've been reading that biography on Flaubert by Jeffrey Wall downstairs in the lower level. So I've been reading that. And I'm almost done reading the memoir, Sonic Life, a memoir by Thurston Moore, who with other band members started Sonic Youth, a noise kind of punk, avant-garde kind of music group that disbanded in 2011 when Kim Gordon and Thurston Moore, who were in the band, started the band. They got divorced and the band dissolved. So I've been reading this. This is kind of a long too. This is, how many pages is this? 468 pages, and I've read 331. And then I got a novel in the mail last week that I'm going to start when I finish reading something, probably Thurston Moore. This is in Europia. As you know, I collect Europia novels, and I came across this one. I look at the Europia website to see what's coming out, and this came out, and I ordered it. Amazon had a Black Friday sale, and they sold this, I think it was like 25% off. It's only $20. It goes for $27. So, and I like, as you know, I like Europia. I've read a lot of them over the years, and this is, I can't pronounce the name. I think it's Domenico Starnone, translated by, who translated this? I think it's a translation. Translated from the Italian by, I can't pronounce the names, but it's an Europia edition, so yeah, it says here, this extraordinary Stega Prize-winning novel confirms Domenico Starnone's reputation as one of Italy's greatest living writers. Told against the backdrop of Naples in the 1960s, a city that itself becomes a vivid character in this lush and atmospheric novel. The house on Via Gemito is a masterpiece of Italian fiction that is steeped in Neapolitan lore. This goes on and on. I don't know. I haven't really gotten into it yet, but I look forward to reading it. I've never been disappointed reading any kind of Europia editions, and so I look forward to reading this in December. Like I said, this was also an Europia edition. Let's see, it's in the Europia, and I've always enjoyed reading the Europias, and also, as you know, I enjoy reading the New York Review books. This is a New York Review books, classics. These are New York Review. I really enjoy. I've always enjoyed reading these. I I have some even pre-ordered to come out in the spring already. So, and I did, the other day I had to go down to the Family Fair pharmacy and get some medicine for my cough. And I stopped at Legacy Thrift Store and I found this, Moving Kings by Joshua Cohen. So, yeah, I have another of his books, the Book of Numbers downstairs by Joshua Cohen. This is the Moving Kings. This is a novel. Yeah, in the back it's recommended by the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, James Wood, Francine Prose, Coram Tobin, you know, all these top people that I collect and I read. And then I picked up at that Legacy thrift store this book, The Book of Marvels, Explorers Miscellany by Mark Collins Jenkins. This is published by the National Geographic. And I just kind of liked it because of the illustrations and of it has all these kinds of neat illustrations, and it's all about explorers, and it has really nice illustrations. It's a nice little book. It only cost me $1, and I like that. And it's national. I collect books on travel, explorers, and yeah, all kinds of illustrations. So I picked this up, The Book of Marvels, Explorer Miscellany. It's just little, it's basically little excerpts from travel books, like going to the Arctic, going to like Egypt. It's just little like quotes taken from these travel books. In the back it lists all the travel books. It lists all of them. I looked at the list in the back of all the travel books that are quoted in here. I haven't looked at it. So yeah, I have all kinds of books, travel books, even though I don't like to travel, which is kind of ironic. I mean, it takes a lot for me just to get out of the house and get in the car and go somewhere. So yeah, it has nice illustrations, and again, it has all kinds of things like that. So I picked that up. That's it. So I write in my diary, and I've been reading, like I said, Lies and Sorcery by Alice Morante, and reading the letters of Gustave Flaubert, reading Devout Meditations, a tribute to Bernard Clairvaux. I finished reading Alone. I haven't started this, The House on Via Gemito. I haven't started this yet, but I do got books coming the first week of December, some novels, I think 2 or 1 at least. I don't know. And I've been reading Robert Hooker in the mornings, the morning portions. Really enjoy. This is really a great memoir if you're into music, musician, band kind of memoirs. This is really well written. I was really kind of surprised. Now I know it has a select audience. Not everybody might get into it, but like I said, I showed you my Sonic Youth CD collection, and I've always been kind of fascinated with Thurston Moore. He not only, when the band broke up, Sonic Youth, he put out individual records, which I have, and he's 65 now, and he says he's going to basically devote his life to writing, not so much to music anymore. And really been blessed reading New Testament theology. This is really a great New Testament theology. I've been really blessed reading this, and reading the book of Psalms every day. Well, I don't read. I keep it near me. When I was going to church, I I went to psalm singing churches, and they don't really have those much anymore. I don't really like contemporary Christian music. I like singing the psalms, the Psalter. Among the Dutch Reformed, they have the Psalter, the Scottish Psalter. John Calvin, the Reformation, they sang the psalms. The monks, they sang the psalms and things like that. My wife and I were still reading the Valley of Vision in the mornings after we read from the Gospel of Matthew. So that's it. So it's a Sunday. It's going on 9:31 in the morning. Today is professional football, which is kind of boring, but I don't know. I don't like that word boring. I've never been bored. But I don't know. I'm not really, for some reason this year I have not been really into football so much. But I turn it on because my wife likes watching football. That's how I got into watching football, was my wife. Because she grew up in a household where they watch football, baseball, basketball. So, but anyway, I just thought I'd stop by, show you what I'm reading, what I got in the mail, writing in my diary. This is a new week. We're going to go into December. And yeah, so I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. We had Thanksgiving with our oldest son and his family down the street. My daughter-in-law's mother and father were there, her parents. It was a good day. So the Lord keeps healing me from this sickness. And yeah, so I thank you for the comments. Do pray you're all doing well, that you have a good reading week. And I can't think of anything else to say except pray that you are all doing well, and keep praying. Yeah, like I said, I'm more convinced now. I'm absolutely convinced that this world is insane. There's no logic, there's no rational people anymore in this world. Everybody's gone nuts. And so we just have to pray that we might have the mind of Christ in these last and dark days. So once again, I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the subscribers. Free to ask me any questions about books, about life, about God, about anything. So I'm rambling now, so I'll close. And blessings.